Welcome to Winternomics.eth. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Welcome to Winternomics.eth. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Welcome to Winternomics.eth. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready to just Winternomics. Welcome. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready to just Winternomics. Welcome. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready to just Winternomics. Welcome. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Winter, 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 winter. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics.
What up, what up? What it do? How's everybody doing out there? 9:21. Setting records on these stats, but I tell you what. Well, we made it. Sorry. Had to rework that write-up. Just wasn't working for me today. Guys, dig that thumbnail? Some wave within wave depictions. Was trying to come up with something to work with Ripple. Just couldn't quite make it happen. So had to rethink that one. But yeah, what do you guys think overall? Took a minute to finish that thing. Needed some more touch-ups and things, but, you know, got as far as I could get. Before the bell fucking opens. Oh, my God. So, a little trolling for the weekend. Always sentiment things. People don't really fucking bitch when they make money, you know. One reason you keep tabs on Twitter, right? Prices people, and the way those people feel tells you a lot about your conviction in acting on those prices. So, history doesn't repeat itself, no, but it often rhymes. And if you didn't get it before, you know, Mark Twain was speaking on the very fractal nature of history, right? That there's a lot of insights you can gain by looking at the past. And so that is one reason we look at, you know, what people do in the past and what they do in the present, where they are in prices on the chart and where they are later, right? All right, let's see what we got here. All right, very good. All right, how many people we got? 84. All right, not doing terribly awful. Shout out to Seeker and Abra. Appreciate it. He does little bits of the show in the morning to keep us going. Is the title Wave Logics or Ripple? It's updated. It should say Wave Logics. Let me look. See what it says. It was Ripple. No, it didn't update. I see what you're saying. Hold on, I'm trying to change it again. It says it updated here. Let me look. No, it's not changing. Okay, now it changed. A little bit crazy. Yup, I got it. It should be there. We got it. Alright, cool. So, a little revamp to the eco. Got trying to reorganize the logics to make things a little easier for you guys to get to. What do you guys think so far? Right, there's a ton of information, and the reality is, like, as much information as we produce in the shows each week, people don't really realize how much stuff is passing them by that they're not making use of, right? Information doesn't mean anything to you if you don't have the capacity to utilize it for anything, to make any informed decisions. It's just a lot of wow factor after the fact. And, for the overall benefit of the eco, more people have to be able to convert this intel into something meaningful, or, the value proposition wanes. So I've done my best to restructure some stuff. And like I said, for people who are in acolytes, we're all still, as far as YouTube Premium goes, we're all in the same concept calls. And the first thing we're going to focus on for people who are just like more, new to the ecosystem is your organization, the organization it takes to manage the amount of shit we cover in just one show. Let alone adding intel channels to that and then trying to make decisions on 3 or 4 things. Did a lot of replays on the weekend, some private ones, some group ones, and one thing that's pretty consistent is that everyone has a hard time with patience outside of intraday resolutions. Very difficult to allow things like on big reses to develop. We talked about that with Cardinal Health and stuff, and those are just really huge bull flags, but they take months to come around. And it's not so hard to satisfy your cigarette cravings if you only have a few minutes between cigarettes. But if you gotta wait the whole day, you're gonna fucking freak out. That's kind of what's happening to people, is that once the resolution is bigger than a day or two, people can't sit there and just let it come to them. Even if they know what resolutions they're planning to trade into, they still keep changing things, or trying to find a way to get in sooner than just be patient to allow things to come to where they plan to do stuff. So it's like imperative to kind of like get a hold of yourself in any resolution and recognize that you're doing the same thing. The fact that you have to wait just a few minutes to maybe play again in intraday if you're trading seconds doesn't take away from the mechanical process you're doing, between consolidation, pumps, and consolidations, and waiting for another play to happen again. So yeah, I'm supposed to hit this button. Let's see. So one thing we're definitely making use of. Why does this look like this? Hold on. I know I fixed this earlier. Yeah, that's weird. One sec. Looks so different in each one. Yeah, what the heck? That's strange. One sec. What is this thing doing? Oh, okay. Wow, that's complicated. So, I didn't even look like this. This is so nutty. Anyways, one thing we did do is we added threads and stuff to OnlyFans, right? Allowing you to basically sort things. That this was actually something you guys needed to do. And this is something I added to Guardians so that you guys could start to manage things the way you should, technically in Notion, right? Same with Winternomics TV chat. Like, this is a phenomenal archive of some of our most well-known charts throughout history, some of the legendary calls that we made, and some of the rationales around them. So these are good resources that really and truly, what we tried to put on to you guys when you came into the eco is that you would take your time to start bringing these things together, because it trains a habit if you're willing to go and do the research and take the time and read these things and then archive them yourself and put them into places that are accessible. The people who manage this stuff on their own the best tend to end up having the best careers doing this, because they know where things are, and that type of organization goes over to their trading and they make better decisions because they're less flustered searching for things. That's one of the things that I didn't want to take that role from you, because that's part of the habit, right? Everyone's wondering what behaviors kill you in the market. It is the inability to manage yourself off the chart that goes onto the chart that really fucks you. So if you go to get a channel together and say, hey, I want to keep track of these important chart patterns, I think these things are useful to me. These show clips, carry certain memos that are important for me to understand. I want to know about debt. I want to know about real estate. I want to know about bonds. I want to know about this, that, and the other. And so I don't know what this thing is doing, jumping out of there. What the fuck is this thing doing? That's so weird. And so at least I got you guys going now, here organizing clips. And so this is a huge informational, study area. When you think about how much of like this information you can take to go through and start to understand it, right? There's over 600 shows. And so there's a vast amount of information that's gone into the past now that nobody knows about, that's not been utilized. And so we're trying to bring this around to a place where, like, all the research that, we've produced, you guys actually do take your time to study it and use it and improve, your habits in this game, at least 1% every day. So definitely pick up on these threads, right? This is huge amounts of stuff. Like I said, we're producing like 1.5, 2 hour shows times a week, 3 shows a week. After months and months and months, there is so many calls, so much analysis that is completely lost inside of like, the sea of data, that we've got to do something better as an eco to like keep track of how much we're producing. So this is an attempt to organize the shows and the charts, Twitter intel, and then as far as OnlyFans, once you guys can track this, because this shows have tons of clips and things that are intel for you to keep track of to help you make decisions. And then you've got OnlyFans, right? So that has to be organized. And so here we starting to like put larger threads into this, and so we'll have research built into threads there. And at the end of the day, right, many of you are only going to be managing like one to 3 things. There's enough data in one show to cover planning for a year. After a few months of this stuff, right, we cover everything. So you don't need everything. You need what's useful to you. And so organization is the main thing that's going to make that work, right? Not how great your analysis is or how smart you think you're about economics. It's going to be what you can get to when you need it. So what do you guys think? Think we're making a move in the right direction? Man, this thing always does something to my microphone, something all the time. All right, I turned it up. Izzy said, reminder, FOMC's this Wednesday, so always pay attention when those guys do stuff. And then quad witching is on Friday, so you can get like some really shitty market action and a volatility spike. A lot of times with quad witching, the market just goes all over the place and doesn't do shit. So, be aware of that if you have a good week this week. Let's see, let's try to make sure we do have a good week this week. How many people attended our spaces? No pussies allowed spaces. I'm sure all the little good morning bitches fucking get up in a fucking tiff about it. Would you believe I've had like 2,400 listens to that spaces, and like the battle between the pussies that are running off my wall because they don't like the way I talk versus the people like, wow, this actually makes sense, has it like at like a net, like I think I still floating on a net 7 to 8 people lost since I did that. I don't think I've ever had anything like that. It's pretty funny, but there's like a huge rotation, I guess. It's kind of weird, right? Because like in the last like 5 years that account's been offline, I guess, the correlation of the population that once followed me along with the herd that's like, at the front end of the entropy of mankind, as we see this like softening, sensitive bitch man show up, is actually infected a lot of the following that actually followed me for the reasons they knew about me. So interesting to see that. But we put down some straight fucking fire on the spaces for you guys to understand human behavior, because it's a thing, and it's what we do on Twitter. We study fucking people, prices people. Most people don't get it, and most people don't make money, so don't be most people, right? That's the most important thing. Got a couple things to show you today. Let's see where that thing's at right now. Yeah, shit. 2,400. I never get 2,400 people to watch this show. I should be doing my shows on fucking Twitter. That should I be fucking pulling the Tucker Carlson? That's pretty insane. I think is this my first or second? I think it's my first space over here is getting this account back. But yeah, this thing was a fucking peach. Definitely peep it. Pretty epic. I thought this was interesting. You guys want to see why you don't follow mainstream media for your fucking news? Look at this statement. After 2 years of surging prices, economists still can't agree on what has caused the world's inflation. Can you imagine that? Waiting for these guys to let you know what's going on while the world screams recession and inflation and this, that, and the other and don't know what's happening from, right? You think this really makes sense? Where's Robert Schiller and all these Nobel Prize winning pieces of shit? Haven't they had an explanation for what's been going on in the economy all the way to this point? How could you possibly have an explanation for everything going on with Biden's administration and not have the answer for this? Doesn't that seem kind of crazy? Because in 2021, that was kind of obvious. You were going to be running higher inflation targets, right? Powell made that obvious. Biden made it obvious with his uncapped spending. 2 years ago, we already had the answer. 2 years later, they're still trying to figure it out. You wonder how the crowd is late to every good idea? Don't wonder anymore, right? That's the blind leading the blind. Because every time the market makes a movement, if you think about it, hasn't the news had an explanation for what the fuck caused it? It's kind of crazy to look at that, right? They always tell you every evening at 5 o'clock, CNN or CNBC has an explanation for the day's market action. And then the same people will come out and tell you no one knows what's going on. Well, what was all that last shit you told me the whole fucking year? Cracks me up. Alright, what else did I have for you guys I put out here? It was pretty great. I don't have anything on screen right now. Oh, wait, that's not that. That's something else. So when I pulled out some of my OG stuff, let's see, what did I pull out for you guys? Who remembers this chart? This is an oldie but a goodie. So this is the thing we talked about on Spaces about Apple's spatial computer, and people being unable to fully value Apple for as long as it's been around. Most everyone watching this show pretty much owns an Apple. A few of you own Androids, unfortunately. But the fact is, right, like Apple has been doing the same thing for quite some time, right? Check this out. This was the forecast of an entire year of Apple's behavior at the end of December 2013. This is the forecast to the cycle that would bring the iPhone 6 online in September, which is historically where they do their product announcements. And much like every product announcement since they've been dropping the iPhone, they're doubted, that the product is almost always fucking hyped and then fucking slammed on fucking reveal, and then later on you figure out Apple did their homework, right? And this is something we told you we want to be careful of. It's a good chance you'll see them come and shit all over the spatial computer and figure out Apple would never put out those goggles after so many failed versions of goggles unless they did their homework. At least that's my thought process. But in this one, we were able to forecast the exact same thing. We forecasted for that same thing, the September dip when they dropped the iPhone, and then the fuck you later because you're not paying attention after it comes out. It's a very, very historic thing Apple does for as long as I can remember. And this is a decade ago we forecasted this. The stock did split, so it was just forecasted waveform. We didn't know the split was coming. Apple announced a split, and then the stock split. So you can see here this huge wedge and this big gap. The low that's right in the gap, that ultimately did work out. This is the gap, and the low hits right above it, right in the gap. And then you get a W bottom, and it fucking pumps out of there. So it's pretty dope. And then the September move right before October, it's the iPhone event, dump bar in people's faces, big bull flag, and then no one's paying attention. and everybody, their mom's still buying iPhones, right? But this is probably one of my more epic forecasts that doesn't really get much credit. This is not, you think about how many people think you need balance sheets and all this fundamental nonsense and blah, 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 and what's going to be going on in the summer. This is the entire year of behavior, all 4 quarters, no financial statements. Can't say I've ever seen anybody pull that one off before. I won't give that guy any airtime. He doesn't deserve it. This is another interesting chart I saw. I talked to you guys about this, right? We talked about not sitting there killing yourself looking for some bankrupt piece of shit in Wall Street bets, or trying to find some fucking outside shit coin that nobody's ever heard of. A lot of people spend a lot of time doing that. But the people who make the biggest money in the market oftentimes are in the biggest assets in the marketplace. That's who can move these things. All right, guys with $100 billion can't stick them in fucking tiny shit coins, right? The only thing that can even absorb their kind of money is the most major assets in the world. So we talk a lot about best of breed, and this is, I think, what I'm going to show you next really exemplifies that point. I'm going to, before we do that, we did a cool little experiment. Let me find it, get you guys to put some charts out. So speaking about Apple, I put, well, it's tied to this. So it's under this thread. So we'll just put this out. So this guy posted a really cool chart. And, what was his thread, right? The rabbit holes without distraction. 70, that was not that. This. The S&P 500 equals 7 companies. 7 companies account for the S&P 500's growth this year. Just Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Google, Amazon, Meta, and Tesla. Everybody that's watching this show, even people who don't watch this show, all know every single one of those companies. Maybe not Nvidia. Maybe mom and pop at home don't know Nvidia, but they know every other one of these things, right? If they didn't know about Nvidia last, 2 weeks ago, they probably do now. So this is a cool chart, right? So here, the purple line is the 493 other S&P stocks and the top 7, and the S&P average itself, right? So look at the S&P average tracking with those stocks, and look at the top 7's performance. The 7 stocks everybody in this show knows intimately. Isn't that something? And remember what I told you, right? Smart money is the only thing that can move $1 trillion assets like that. Wall Street Bets doesn't move Apple and Meta. They can move GameStop and things like that. But small retail doesn't move these things. So either the smartest money on Wall Street is retarded, or they're repricing these superior properties up to a new price echelon that likely the rest of the shittier houses in the neighborhood are going to follow, not the other way around, right? And this would be because the market is so fully bearish. And you can see this tilt inside these big assets, right? We could see this in Apple and Tesla and Nvidia. And ultimately, right now, the crowd is starting to catch on to, we might have missed it. Not too well, but they're just beginning to catch on to that. And that's when you start shopping for, whatever looks like it's still cheap out there. And that's where sympathy plays come from. So that being said, right, you don't have to look for anything crazy. So I wrote this out. It's a food for thought, right? People spend a lot of time trying to guess which pile of shit stock or what the fuck ever is going to get adopted, right? We had a show about this in the past. I think it was called History in the Making. And adopted. Digging through the dumpster, trying to find is such a waste of time. When playing best of breed will make your life so much simpler. Just think. You gotta really think of this through. They will check some pink sheet garbage they found on Meta, on Facebook, using their Apple iPhone before ordering some bottle of water on Amazon on their Nvidia-powered Microsoft PC, looking up directions on Google Maps and bitching about it all the way to lunch in their Tesla. What the fuck do you think adoption looks like, right? As every people are like, hey, they might use Litecoin, they might use this, they might use that. Do you know what they are using? Do you know what you're using to check what they might be using? Imagine if you just bought each of these in the years you clearly adopted it, along with everyone else. Where would you be now? Go on, ask yourself, when did you first use any of them, and where on the chart was it? Post and replies. You want to see how well you guys, like, again, we did this in that previous show, but how well you guys understand adoption? You don't buy things that aren't adopted. You don't buy outside fucking small brands that, that don't work. You buy fucking known brands. There's the first time Tiki bought a Microsoft Xbox. A product that won't be much fun if nobody else owns one, right? So it needs to be adopted before buying an Xbox. Gonna let you play games with anybody else that has an Xbox. See how simple that is? And that's when he bought it. That's the greatest investment of all times because he still plays Xbox, I believe. Let's see what you got in here. Yep, it's all that can be said, son. When Kanye's got to get involved, it's crazy. Got my first iPhone. Now, I've known this guy for a while, and I could not believe this is how late he got an iPhone. But either way, that's a pretty good shitcoin trade, isn't it? And this is a lot of stuff on Apple here. Look at this. Reminiscence pretty much fucking, sold his soul to Apple. His MacBook, his iPhone 6. I know when that was. That's 2013. That's actually probably the pullback in the next year. And iPhone 8. And another Mac Pro. You could have just put that much money in the stock at each time you wanted to buy these assets. You'd be sitting on something pretty nice today. What else do we got? Look at this one. Holy crap. This motherfucker's as old as a dinosaur. 1995. Before the Obama era, I think. And this motherfucker's a dinosaur. But yeah, look at how perfectly in price structure your decision to buy these assets are. Have you ever noticed there's almost never a really pullback from when you guys pick up your products? You tend to buy with your products with the best timing on earth, This isn't the greatest timing here in the MacBook. But look, his fucking iPhone 6 couldn't have picked a better spot if he was trying to technically analyze this, right? 8, maybe not the greatest, but it holds support on his 2 previous buys. Did 2 good buys, added a little bit here, a little pullback, probably about his average price. And then boom. And look where that fucking MacBook is. Insta-gas. Let's see, what else we got here? Double booby. What did you do? iPhone 2007, iPhone 10, iPhone 4, iPhone what? Oh, iPod, iPhone 4S, Apple Watch, right? This would be, if this was just entries for your trades over the years, look at that. Nice base here, at the bottom of the bull flag there, never goes below that price, never goes below that price. If you could show this was the entries for Warren Buffett over the last 15 years, it'd be considered the most legendary fucking buy ever, wouldn't it? If you just bought the stock like this, it would be the greatest investment portfolio. Oh yeah, I tactically stepped into Apple across a span of about a decade between 2007 and 17 and kind of backed off and let him just do his thing. This would be the greatest trade anybody ever did. Always funny to put this stuff on a chart and see it, isn't it? To make you want to kill yourself. What's this? I don't know. Did this person put this into this? Oh, he put it into here. What did he put? First time using a Gillette razor. Gillette is one of Buffett's mega plays. That's pretty funny. Yeah, actually, for every guy that uses a shaving blade, this is even more adopted than a fucking iPhone, right? Every guy's got to get one of those. Well, not every guy. Some people got a little too much soy, too many whiskers. But yeah, it's epic. I didn't see that one. Awesome. So, do you got to go digging in the dumpster for some beaten up bankrupt thing that might come back with a fucking social media pump? Nah, not really. The products that are adopted are usually staring you in the fucking face, and you're probably using them. And it's crazy that people spend so much time digging around for something that might be. You could have made a fortune on Apple in the last 5 years, and he was well known at that point, Crazy shit, right? We are the indicator. You're not going to buy something that's untested. You're going to get a razor that might rip your fucking skin off your face. You're going to get a fucking game system that has no friends on it to play. Everything you buy is naturally adopted. Your car, you're gonna buy some car from some obscure fucking auto manufacturer that no one knows if the thing explodes on contact. No, you're gonna be like, dude, which car is the safest to put my kids in? Dude, which car is the fastest car to get? Dude, which car doesn't have a bunch of fucking mechanical problems? And a whole bunch of people that own it are gonna be like, this one. Right? So it's the funniest shit in the world. Think about Tesla. Like, I mean, how long ago was it obvious that Tesla had been adopted? How many people wanted Tesla? And how many people have been betting against the richest guy on the fucking planet, like, for fucking the whole time? It's really crazy. But the best ideas are usually right in front of you and dismissed because of heavy biases. So, always fun stuff. A couple interesting threads out there on Twitter too, exposing human behavior and bias that you definitely want to read. And look at the shape of ignorance. I think I had to put one out there. Just I got trolls that follow me. Sometimes they just got to get checked. And I got ones who follow me for the better part of a decade. And I want to show you what ignorance looks like on a graph, because it's bad. I think I showed this to you. It's still one of the funniest things, right? If you guys have been watching some of the trolly stuff that's on my wall this weekend, and just looking at people like, the dismissive attitude people have just to cling to their egocentric points of view, always remember that saying in markets: if any chart ever teaches you this, you can be right or you can be happy. The most epic troll I think I ever got after cash cycle, timing wise, Bitcoin is toast. 19,000%. 19,000%. And where did that one go? Bitcoin is toast. You totally misunderstand, and such is probably my fault. Bitcoin and crypto is never going to overtake the dollar, which is why I repeatedly stated, so I listed that no one will be their own bank and Bitcoin would not become world reserve currency. I'm not sure that English says that, but I'll tell you guys this: the inability to admit that you're wrong is the worst habit a trader could ever have. When you're tattooed to the front end of probably the worst trading call ever in capital markets, since this is the number one performing asset ever, just stop. Because that's a habit that's going to follow you everywhere you go, and you're never going to be able to admit you're wrong. So, gotta love my, I love my fans, but I love my trolls more, because these guys are what you never want to do in markets. Too funny. So, with the trolley climate on Twitter, the need to reorganize the eco, these are all sentiment things for where we are. Like, I think, we talked about the channel and with you guys and on here before, I think we're in a very large resolution rotation that, is rivals, the internet bubble and banking crisis, and the kind of sentiment damage you have in the bottom of those things that allows for them to take off and leave people wondering for huge spans of time, allowing massive, massive markups. And so, pretty much maintaining a pretty persistently bullish stance with that as we play these waves within waves. This morning pre-market, market's starting off pretty positive again across the board. Tesla again pretty green, and a lot of tech, starting the day off the same way. As the bell is open right now, we haven't gone really anywhere, but we're looking at 7 stocks that have brought the market up a fantastic amount while most people were screaming recession. And we know there were skeleton crew vibes all the way up, and we know there's a bunch of literal dead bodies at the bottom of that bull flag from those shooting clusters, and the market is just persistently strong. So our goal is to get you guys to not fall into the crowd lull in complacency, and be organized and be attentive when the crowd is not attentive. That is where your best chance of arbitrage or perception comes from, is like being ready when no one else is. And we think this is definitely a point in time to be, on guard, not just in stocks, but also, in crypto markets, as you've got Gary Gensler walking around with a sledgehammer to everybody who he needs to pay back because his buddy Sam is in trouble. So that being said, markets are open. Take a look at some stuff here. Like I said, we kind of gave you guys most of the setups right now, what we're dealing with. Pretty good squiggle here. Told you at the next emotion level bar Nomics for the S&P. Pay attention to him. You got your bull flag in a yellow box range. We told you that we thought he could do it in from this bull flag. And he's attempting to push his way out of here, see if he can do it. Tech has been the leader and it's kind of obviously pushing higher. So it's a good time to start pay attention to anything else in the other neighborhoods that aren't as strong as these 7 houses that could begin to reprice in terms of these houses. And many of those things that we talk about sectors that are coming online, discretionary starting to pick up its strength, but also the banks that got crushed are probably worth going on people's radar, right? Stuff like Bank of America that are in big bull flags like this, right? Some of these guys don't look too terrible anymore. The JPMs, the Bank of Americas, we talked about these dudes, and they're kind of like in such bad favor right now, but tech is so pushed out, you don't want to totally take these guys off your radar. Energy guys too, have looked also kind of interesting and look like they're trying to start to recover. So there's a lot of guys in a lot of different spaces now that don't look, half bad. We talked about airlines and stuff like that before. If you guys pay attention, these guys are beginning to catch strength, right? And then we have some industrial guys, some tech like Lockheed's, and the even possibly Boeing. We know we have him on Boeing. All right, what if, right? Boeing might finally be ready to try this next leg of the N and extend himself out of here. But with tech up as much as it is, and the crowd being massively flat-footed, right, and likely really hyper-focused, the bulk of the crowd hyper-focused on the things that they missed, there is other opportunities out there. So I think we have pretty good a lay of the land, and we can see how many people are staying at the wrong things or on the wrong side of this. And again, while they're staying in Nvidia now after the fucking fact, there's going to be some other money to be made elsewhere. Crypto things, what can you say about crypto things? So BNB took a fucking heavy beating here with Gensler targeting specifically Binance. BNB, where the hell did it go? And we failed our trigger. We had a trigger for you guys here. Thought he could make it. Did not make it. And he fell perfectly on that trigger. It's a good level. And is CZ dead money yet? Don't think so. But right now, the line in the sand we're going to have to watch is this last higher floor we made. And see what CZ's got. So that is the current situation. He came right into it. So right now, still have this higher floor. He could even wick it and still be considered, as long as he doesn't take this out. This pattern is still intact, right? So what comes next out again is definitely critical. I told you to pay attention to this thing, UST.D. We get up here and flag in this anonymous beta area and punch again. That's death. So definitely keep your guys' eyes on this. I put some supplemental information on this inside OnlyFans in Discord. So if anybody that's needs to put more context to this, I have some more stuff there. Again, the amount of information I'm putting on the show plus what's in OnlyFans equals you need organizational skills before you worry about more intel that you don't have the capacity to use. So no FOMO. BTC, we're tracking that with that wave. If that thing explodes, north, UST.D, this guy's going to punch down along this angle and get fucking wrecked. And guys like ETH are going to do the same. They're going to just keep on just tracking this low-rise angle back deeper and deeper and deeper. So for right now, we're watching this, all three of these things in concert. And if we get down instead to this range, this I think is the next most interesting range if we do it. And we didn't hold this rotation, which we didn't get above this little midline I told you to pay attention to. So now, who's broken low, you have to adjust this guy. It's a bigger res bull flag. This is not what we're watching, right? Scenario number 2. That's a lot of words. %, Armageddon. What does that mean? I just bought an Intel NUC13 Pro. I don't even know what that is. What Silverline said, very important. Good technical analysis, puts you in the same place as good fundamental analysis, because all things are contained within the wave, right? The smart people who have access to information first, and the dumb people who buy at the end of the markup last, right? It contains everything. So good TA puts you in the same place as good FA. Absolutely. Mari asks, what's your current take on the war in Ukraine and how it affects markets? Do you still think Ukraine will eventually lose this war? I guess you could say the main effect in the marketplace is inflationary. War tends to be that, and Putin's war is really drawing the U.S. into a place where they're spending on a war that they don't want to admit they're spending on, and they are basically driving inflation by having us basically backstop Ukraine in that war. It also serves the purpose of depleting the U.S. and NATO of serious resources if there was to be another war on their home soil. You can see that many of the allies are running short on bullets. So the war is not, just, hey, it's Russia versus Ukraine, like Putin and China. This is a long-winded plan to destabilize NATO in the West. And there's a bit more going on than what it looks like just right there on the edge of NATO's, territory. Ultimately, China is coming off of having closed manufacturing in COVID and keeping it closed while the U.S. was adding stimulus, to the ecosystem, to their ecosystem, but unable to really restart their economy. And that had a side effect along with what Putin's doing that is kind of two-pronged. The U.S., runs on leverage, right? Our fractional reserve model allows us to amplify all of our assets, and including human capital. What China did was shut down the ability for the U.S. economy to restart while the U.S. basically pumped a bunch of nitrous into the engine and left the car sitting on the fucking starting line waiting to go. They choked it, which puts, it will burn up an engine if you were to do something like that. And then Putin puts us in a position to really spend, money that would be better supporting the economy coming out of that position on funding, a military position with Ukraine versus him. And now you have runaway inflation happening, which is transferring the living standards of the West right out of it into the East, right? The East is seeing a new wealth class emerge, from Thailand to fucking China, on the back of fucking this interconnected system working, from the two-pronged attack that's hitting us in a cost to fund our assets, to fund our credit lines, right? Or bonds are in a crazy place where we're getting yields to shoot up because the Fed is attempting to fucking tamp down inflation, and BRICS is attacking us through raw materials and trapped our economy at a very critical moment in the reemergence from fucking COVID. So the war, is inflationary on risk assets for one. But longer term, what's the real effects on the market? It's a very broad question to ask, right? Ultimately, they're trying to destabilize a credit-based system. And in the near term, it's having the effects of basically destabilizing the currency and supporting risk assets in a time that people think risk assets should be falling because of higher rates. But it's a crosswind of a lot of factors that we really haven't seen, in 40 years in the markets that we're seeing right now, that's allowing you to have higher credit costs and higher risk asset prices all at once. Ultimately, the U.S. isn't really the best of breed in the situation. And so seeing rising risk asset prices makes most people tend to think things are doing better than they are. The real reality is that, the currency itself under attack is not a good place to be versus assets that have some utility. And there's other risk asset markets that are rising even faster than the U.S. that are even better of breed. So it's basically just fiat's not the place to be, not that risk assets represent a booming economic system. So it's kind of a lot of stuff. I don't know. That's the best I can kind of tell you about it. But the Russia situation, its real effects on us have yet to be seen. So I don't know. Hope that answers your question. It seems like a short answer for such a small thing, but that's tough. All right, so I'm not trying to do a 2-hour show today. Yeah, Russia is making grand sacrifices, right? Putin is 70 years old. Xi is, I think, a year older, right? Or was he a year younger? One of them. Putin's older than that now, right? He's 71. Either way, right? The average lifespan of a male adult in the times they come from is in the 70s. You know, they say today like your person may live to their 80s, but you know they come from a time period that they probably likely their lifespan is somewhere in their 70s, and they've waited a long time for a chance to destabilize a power that has leaned into their economies for as long as both of those people have been alive. You know, what would you do as a legacy play as emperor and lifetime leader in those two places on your way out the door? Those guys want to go down in history as the people that got out from under the boot of NATO. So what would you sacrifice to try and stop what the United States and NATO has done to your country and trapping its economy and being able to sanction you and fucking like freeze your assets and, you know, starve your people through sanctions? They're willing to do anything. So yeah, better believe it. This is the play of plays for you. So, you know, they would do anything. Anything's on the table for a chance to get from under this. That's why both of those guys turn themselves into lifetime leaders. This is for legacy for both of those guys. So make no mistake, they're gonna see through whatever the fuck plan they have. And you know, like I told you guys like over a year ago, tactical nukes would be on the table, and Russia's now dangling tactical nukes in front of people. Everything's on the table when it comes to get, you know, when freedom's, you know, is in question. Sorry about that. Oh, that came out of the Mac. I don't have any more alerts set. That was my free roll getting ejected. All right, so that's a good question though. You know, so I'm trying to finish a blog that covers that. I have some threads about Russia, and you know that goes back into what the situation is. Let's see. Let's see if I can pull that up on here real quick, briefly. I know I put it in here. One sec. Did I not do it? I have some gangster old threads on this. I thought I put them in the Discord. Unbelievable. I have it. One sec. Here it is. So I've been following this stuff for like 20 years. This is OG posts from a thread that's way back in the day. This is 2016 era. And this is I can't find this to save my life ever again. I told you guys about this before. Before I could get my threads back, I couldn't see this. But this is a very long in the making plan that, you know, the short attention span of the public tied to the media's never ending like breaking news flow makes you forget things from the past. But this is 2016. Let's think about it. This is 7 years ago. And this might as well be right fucking now, you know? Calls for China New World Order. This is BRICS. This is where the calls for BRICS is at. There's the alliance, now public. They were doing this from 2002. They were doing military joint exercises the whole time. This is the first time I caught onto this. You know, UK took steps to basically beef up their nuclear arms, and Russia's like, fuck you. You want to go nuclear missiles? We'll put something in outer space, motherfucker, with a real high ground. So it's already been hot for some time. This is an insane statement. This tells you everything you need to know about what Russia and China feel like about the West and their position in the world of running world affairs. They're fucking sick of it. They're not sort of sick of it. They're only sick of it. They want no fucking part of this shit anymore. Hang on a sec. Stupid computer always going to sleep on me. Speaking of the 95th anniversary of the founding of the Chinese Communist Party last month, Xi Jinping delivered what Western analysts are calling an incendiary speech in which he called for a military union with Russia that would render NATO powerless and put an end to the imperialist desires of the West. The harsh statement comes at a time when both Beijing and Moscow find themselves vulnerable to increasingly hawkish U.S. foreign policy that has resulted in a series of massive war games on both. Those war games at this point are running fucking like 15 years. So these guys have been working on this for 2 decades. This is a lifetime legacy play. They're going for broke, believe it or not. And the U.S. media doesn't want anybody to believe that, because it scares the shit out of people. But 3.5 billion people have gotten together, 4 nuclear superpowers and 3 space-fearing races are fucking in this alliance now. And people still aren't sure this is really going to be a thing, right? It's actually the craziest thing that you'll ever see. And, the sentiments of people out there willing to believe this is not really good, right? Hold on. All right, I've been getting laughed at for this call for quite some time also. And if you want a sentiment read, right, the guy who's clowning me about Bitcoin at 400 in December of 2015, well, this is that same guy applying the same logic here. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Right? And you think people don't doubt this right now? Remember, the world is the largest population ever, and BRICS is the dominant economic force in the world. There's no war with BRICS, in my opinion, just a few nations having a moment expressing dislikes to the U.S. Talk about under-fucking valuing the situation at hand. With that speech I just showed you from 2016 to what BRICS has become right now, a few nations expressing a moment, expressing dislikes. Do you know how crazy that statement is? That's not a few, that's not a few nations. And if you don't realize this is an attack, I think it's a few peeps showing disdain for NATO in the U.S. and Saudi Arabia makes peace with Iran and 4 nuclear allies move away from the USD. This is the public right now. This is Bitcoin 400. Trust me, Bitcoin's toast. You're kidding, right? This is fucking serious. This is the world. NATO is not the world. This is the world. My point is that they don't matter unless they want straight up war, and they don't. Do you know what war games are for? War games are because, yes, bitch, they want straight up fucking war. Chinese scientists, war games, hypersonic strike on U.S. carrier group. That's called we want war, and we want you to try and sail this big ass piece of shit anywhere near fucking Taiwan again, and we're gonna sink it before one fucking piece of your arsenal has range on us. That's what a hypersonic missile is for. The U.S. entire naval fleet is now obsolete. You cannot sail within range of China. That's why we're out of the South China Sea, and they are now able to fucking threaten Taiwan. Because they've been developing weapons that can give a chance to get us the fuck out of there for as long as I've been watching, and they have it now. 2016 to 2023, shit has changed, right? So, sentiment things, right? So it's been interesting to watch, getting back on Twitter and seeing the same old trolls attacking me decades straight, literally nonstop and just crazy ignorance. This isn't something I just loosely fucking been looking at. I've been looking at Russia and China for about half of my life, setting this play up. This is a one shot, a do or die type play. But for these guys, it's a legacy play. It's the end of their lives. It is a play they've been working on for 20 years. And it is for legacy to save their nations and be heroes from getting them under the foot of basically this imperialist regime, which is NATO and the United States. So make no mistake, this is the battle of our times, right? They're fighting a proxy war right now over there in Ukraine, but that could turn to some real shit in fucking some NATO countries real fucking fast. So, what do you guys think? Sentiment things. He was wrong on Bitcoin. Maybe he's right about BRICS. What do you think? You want to bet on it? I don't know, but that's how you read the tea leaves. Crazy shit, right? We're so fucked. Let's just hope that Bitcoin thing was a one-off, right? Oh, he also fudded AI, by the way. Just so you know that too. So BTC, AI, and 4 nuclear superpowers on his hit list of FUD. So let's just hope, huh? Maybe if we expose the jinx, it might protect us from the super jinx. Why is my phone like giving me so many warnings? Oh, that's why. It is tethered to my camera. His track record is stunning, yeah, I gotta say. His track record is scary as fuck. Well, yeah, that's why you pay attention to guys who have track records like that, right? It spells danger when they start fudding shit you're touching. Prices people, and he's got some scary fucking history on his prices. So you definitely want to be aware of that. All right, so I think we're at hour 7. I'm gonna try to make this not as long a ridiculous show, and I'm gonna get you guys to your macro and then get you out of here. Meanwhile, Jess says, meanwhile, America trying to figure out what is a woman. You know, I've seen Elon troll that. I've seen kids push back against it. You've seen some disgusting shit in classrooms. Kids, like, you know, in Texas speaking out, like, having it shoved in their faces. And I think that market's about cooked. You know, I think that keeps on going. You know, Elon posted this, and the richest guy on the planet, like, this sums up how stupid everything really has gotten, doesn't it? Because that's basically where we're at in the United States. And everybody else in the world is looking at the U.S. do this, and, like, they have doctors, right? And they don't necessarily subscribe to our propaganda. And, you know, when you live in a little bubble, you think the whole world is thinking like you're thinking. That's when you end up into a position to have the arbitrage of perception fuck you up, right? Nobody else has this problem of figuring out what's what. It's just retarded. And as you're perverting kids and grooming your entire culture and attacking them through fucking, you know, beer commercials, cartoons, comic books, school systems, I only know one people that have the ability to coordinate an attack on every front like that in the United States. Because, you know, Black Lives Matter couldn't hit everything on these fronts, right? They couldn't hit you from Lockheed Martin, Disney World, Budweiser, Marvel movies, kids cartoons on Nickelodeon, fucking everything all together. There's only one population that has control of that many surfaces of the media and influence to get everyone to do it together. But that's for another show. I don't want to be fucking blacklisted, but I think you figure it out. But yeah, somebody's turning the American man into a bitch and is tactically attacking every single place possible, while China on the other side of the water is promoting like masculinity. You're weakening your future soldiers down the line. That's what's really happening, right? And China's feeding into that too, right? Their TikTok campaign is literally turning fucking every boy that touches into Tinky Winky, right? You're attacking the psychology of the future military. This shit is not a good look for fucking your would-be like empire. Like, this is, nobody wants this leading the world. Nobody. So anyways, I think it's run its course though, and I think you're about to see some aggressive pushback. Everyone's fucking sick of this shit. And it's a fucking lie. And yeah, it's an agenda, and somebody really well funded is making sure to shove this up our fucking children's asses. And it's fucking gross. Call it what it is. It's fucking gross. Anyways, don't want to spend too much time on that. So let's do macro stuff, and then let's get to it. So I talked about some things in the beginning, where we're at with S&P. Definitely think this is worth paying attention to, right? Where he's at now, flagging up here and watching what he does. Triple Qs, we're watching those too, right? As tech has been super, super strong, and most people are on the wrong side of this thing. We do want to keep our eyes on this thing, right, as the market pushes out. The S&P 500 on the shooting cluster sentiment. We'll bring this chart up again, right? These, if anybody doesn't remember what this was all the fucking locations of mass shootings in America and marking them in the bull flag, showing where literal dead bodies were, and that the dead bodies literally fucking mark the bottoms of bull flags to perfection, right? So this is the sentiment of big bull flags like this, you know, and we come down, we can look at it like, you know, with regard to, whoops, let me zoom out. The banking crisis lows, right? There are dead bodies in the bottoms of these major bull flags. And this gigantic bull flag is built of series of mass shootings, epic amounts of dead bodies. There's literally nobody here. And we can see these massive bull flags reflected in, these assets we're tracking. Rotation on Tesla. How big exactly are these bull flags, right? They're of epic scales. But a bull flag is a bull flag is a bull flag. And this guy, if, like he said, if he's not the anomaly, then there's a lot of people that have a chance to follow him out the rooftop like this, right? AMD, somebody asked that, right? All these guys, when you start to look at it, right? Remember we looked at Pepe, how we looked at Pepe? Like, we talked about what if. It's a resolution thing, right? It can go crazy. Either Nvidia's full of shit, or those 7 stocks are telling you something that nobody fucking was aware of, and people are still asleep on this thing. Meta was able to come back, what percentage again? Hey, look at this. Meta was able to bounce 210%. And it's just now people are realizing how much of the market move was carried by these stocks. It's really insane, some of the biggest fucking moves you'd see, they'd be like absolute bull market moves. We talked about these guys, like watch payments, Visa and some of these guys, huge bull flag structures, really huge bull flag structures like everywhere. And they're calling recession, recession, recession. One, the crowd never knows when a recession is coming. They're always late. But we talked about these all in the recent show. Talked about home builders, right? Home builders look fucking crazy. Look at that guy. That's a home builder. Any of you being told that home builders are in a bull market? Absolutely not. All right? We talked about these guys a couple of times. Pulte all these dudes to pay attention to these guys. Most people are waiting for housings to crash. So, diamonds, still keeping track of industrials. These guys are cooking. Like I said, a couple industrials starting to look better, like Boeing and some other guys. Guys like this, like, industrial services, EME. Some of these guys are super strong. There's Caterpillar. I think, is he on here? Nope. Caterpillar. Where I had the chart for Caterpillar? Well, we had this bull flag for we'd shown you before. And like, Caterpillar up here right now, right? Literally going to the fucking moon. Actually supposed to put fucking machines on the moon. But yeah, you watch this stuff right here, right? This market doesn't look remotely as bearish as they're selling anybody. My bad. Here's an OG chart we had posted on the main trading view, and if you guys saw that Dow the Dow 100 chart that I had here, I was showing you guys. Not there. All right, we talked about this chart before. And, I put another logarithmic out, again, on my profile. This is here, same thing, right? More simple, less stuff on it. And this was posted here, just here in November 2021. The entire correction from 2021 from the Fed policies in this, and it looks like that. That's it. That's the entire unbelievable, oh my God, fucking the Fed's killing everybody in the stock market correction, and free roll again. I'll take it. Hold on. Sweet. Got chopped once, but I got that bitch. All right. In life, yeah, in life you can be right or you can be happy. That's why I say this statement, right? I learned that from a fucking lady that robbed me in real estate. But this is 100 years of the Fed's money printing machine. Trust me, they know what they're doing, right? It could just be that simple. This little blip is the entire Armageddon of fucking the United States and fucking recession, and oh my God. Everything that you've been doing last 2 years fits into this blip. Pretty crazy when you look at it like that, right? So, yeah, these things are sitting. Oops. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. Motherfucker. You zoom out, that little blip, right? The entire correction is this. And from there, things like Nvidia, in the same correction from November, have gone fucking to new levels, right? What if? So, feels like a lot of people are asleep and a lot of people waiting for a crash that I think they just missed. So VIX things, oh, I gotta check him. Pop on the VIX, right? Until we were down in the depths of hell. How good was that level we put? I said it was the only level we had, 1339. Did we nail it? Where did I get that from? I don't remember. Sorry. I'm not high anymore, but I'm a little forgetful. Oh, yeah, our bull flag that generated the whole COVID thing. Remember? Just like the bull flag of BTC 31,000, he's our only major system before we go to 69,000. So the low of that flag is great support. So we projected that level across and said, hey, watch out for the VIX. He gets down there. That's dangerous. So this is definitely usually a headwind to risk assets. So we do want to pay attention to this. If the VIX manages to get a recoil from here, that can be dangerous. So always keep this on your radar when the VIX has like upswings from bull flag structures like this. DXY things. He's still cooking in the flag we drew for you here. If he manages to rotate this out and continue strength, that might be support if the VIX does get strength and pumps out. A lot of times in de-risking situations, you get a strong home currency. So pay attention to those two. If they do tend to line up like that, if they correlate and the market's weak, take that into consideration. With the euro, with that sitting like that, we want to look at Euro USD and see what he's doing because he's in a bear flag that either is going to rotate with a bull pump in the DXY and kill this entire structure and rotate this big ass bear flag and bring the euro down to another level, or this BRICS attack has legs and they're going to rotate back through this low volume area and do scenario 2 we showed you here, and the DXY is going to peel downwards and allow this to continue what he was doing from the trenches. Let's see, GBP, who's a slightly stronger of the two, looks a bit better than the way the euro is set up, and he kind of gives us a better technical structure that says there's a chance for the DXY to weaken out and there to be a broader movement like this against the dollar. We can check like home in the States, MXN, and we can actually see like the MXN's made a new low against the dollar, so he's still killing the dollar. That being said, right, MXN being the better of breed makes him also the better of breed against the yen, which is one of the plays we gave you guys on Cyber. That's still running, right? Pretty perfect fucking play since the day we posted it for you guys. We posted it on Cyber back here inside the box range. And again, yen's, is the real bull market, right? Most people are not watching Japan. Many people are staring at other parts of Asia, but Japan is the real bull market. And so his home currency is getting decimated while his risk assets catch crazy strength. And that's what they want, right? They are an export nation. They're going to weaken their currency to be able to sell more shit to other countries. And so they have a history of keeping their rates very low and weakening their currency, which makes them, the ideal currency for a carry trade. Carry trade is basically, borrowing money from one place at low cost and putting it into a place that has a chance for high returns and making a differential on that spread. The yen being historically close to zero makes him the greatest thing to borrow from and slap against anything, against real estate, against stocks, against anything. And so when risk assets are pumping, you tend to see the yen be extremely weak. And the stronger the risk asset pump is globally in multiple markets, markets around the world, multiple indexes, the weaker this motherfucker tends to be. So that's one of the reasons I tell you have to really pay attention to this. If we really were rotating, this guy was going to rotate and look like the bull pump of risk assets himself. So even with weak guys like NTD and AUD, they're still holding structures. And if these guys ever catch strength, they've been kind of weak. they'll eventually push out against him. But for right now, it's pretty much just Europe and Mexico that's playing the wave out on the yen. The Nikkei, again, no one's paying attention to it. Up like every fucking day. Wrong chart. Nikkei, god damn it. I always turn myself around in here. Why do I not see this thing when I stare at this? Oh, there he is. Y'all leave that man Leon alone. But the bull flag of the Nikkei, right? Now we talk about that massive bull flag in the S&P is enough to pretty much make everyone freak out, and he's really just like this. Well, look at this thing, you know? Do you know how much more crazy this is if we go logarithmic? Right? This guy has put fucking whole nations to sleep, multiple. And the time it took him to round, think about the shooting clusters from like October, November in the bottom of the S&P coming up through March, and realize that this takes from July 2001, the internet bubble, to wrap around here, March 14th, like half a decade past the housing crisis. And no one is looking at it here, right? And you remember what the sentiment is on the way up, the last part to get to the high. You know, we talk about the part to go close up and touch the high of, you know, from like about here, from about the middle to get to where you test an all-time high. Remember, no one gives a shit, right? When you look at the internet bubble, we talked about this, right? That the housing crisis from here to here, there's not really great gas in the market. It comes in after the gold tops out and risk-off assets get crushed. Then risk-on assets really go crazy. So, you know, yeah, most people probably aren't paying attention. Oh, actually, that's how I did it. Sorry. I thought I used yellow that way. So this blue box, this box is basically where you get the gas pedal. This whole-ass move after risk-off assets take a shit. This entire leg, right, is Obama's leg that everyone shits on this guy because everyone's a fucking closet racist. And so nobody buys this. This sentiment you've got to pay attention to, right? From here, about midway of this flag to the very tip top, in a bull flag, most people don't care. Much like NVIDIA, right? No one gave a flying shit about NVIDIA from about here to the top. As soon as you broke high, oh my God, AI, right? But not before. Take that and look at the size of what that is on the Nikkei. God damn it, over here. Hell, if he takes, you know, into the like late 2020s to get there, no one's gonna care still. But he is hauling ass, and no one gives a shit. And he's got some big motherfuckers in there, right? That the few we can get access to in the States, but we've had these guys all on here. They're on some epic resolution of bull structures, right? Toyota. Remember, Toyota's OG sheet. We had this sheet posted from like I think like late 2020. Is when we posted this sheet. I think this is where we posted it, November 2020. Something crazy. So don't sleep on Japan. Because the whole planet is. Who else we got? Honda Motor Company. Yeah, he's finally fucking pushing. See? Had this motherfucker too. So, yeah, those are a few guys we have access to. But, you know, we were asked earlier, how does the war in Ukraine affecting U.S. stocks? We're not the best of breed. Japan actually is. But all risk assets are kind of pushing because there's a global inflationary pressure that's making home currencies not the best place to be. Assets are going to maintain their values better in a high inflationary, environment, and there is a flight to assets out of cash. So, anyways, how big's that bull flag on Honda? It's been cooking for 12 years. Everything on Japan is just massive. All right, so that covers that. Did I do currencies? I did currencies and crypto things. I did crypto in the show already, and basically cover what's going on there. All right, and so something I was talking to, somebody was asking me about, like, what do you think about, like, the coins that Gensler's attacking and stuff? And, well, like, what's he not attacking, right? We know that DeFi tokens are probably fucking in the crosshairs. And so we look at this guy a lot. It's not there. Oh my God. But a good way to look at this guy, you know, because right, Atom and DeFi tokens, you know, these guys are on the chopping block, but Ethereum right now is not. So you have a regulatory risk arbitrage, you know, between what they could attack and what they may not touch at all. So when you look at it like that, you look at, you know, Atom to ETH, or sorry, ETH to Atom, right? You have a chance for this range to actually clear and stop being stochastic. Should that actually happen, and we get like a breakout in this, and the break, you know, this continuation down in Atom's trend against Ethereum, there's going to be a split in the market with the coins that are like in the crosshairs of Genza's security bullshit and the coins that are not. And that's where, like, you know, real great arbitrage of perception can really happen. Should he really get his way in pushing these bullshit regulations onto some of these guys and attacking Coinbase and so on. So I think, like, you know, that's where the real money can be, like, is in the intra markets of crypto, not so much in terms of fiat, but between the guys that likely could be completely ended right now and the guys that are likely to survive. Well, there's a huge fucking opportunity there. So, give you an idea, like, you know, how you might want to think about it. But there's a lot of stuff cross market that most people don't think about. And Ethereum and BTC, we know, are not part of that situation. So we also want to keep track of BTC.D, right? Because that's what that's telling you. If Bitcoin and ETH are the only two things that are not on the crosshairs of Genza, then that's a great case for Bitcoin dominance to actually finally leave the stochastic range. And we know that's bad for a whole bunch of things in terms of Bitcoin. It can be a shitcoin winter in terms of BTC if this goes fucking moon from here with Genza on the fucking like horn trying to fucking take out half of crypto. So very important place and time to pay attention right now for what's going on in crypto land. All right, I think that's it. Crypto, Forex, dollar stuff. Yeah, I think I covered what I wanted to. Did you guys get all that? That was a lot of stuff. Banking things, some regional bank things. Can't put them all on there, but, you know, covered some things about banks. Obviously, some big banks look good. There's some strength in some regional banks too that are worth paying attention to. And like I said, you know, outside of like tech being retarded, there's some other places that can play catch up, and energy could be one of those things. So yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to review. Okay, all right, motherfuckers, what am I at? Try not to do these 2-hour shows. That's just been crazy. Hour and 28 minutes. I don't know how this is happening. Okay, I'll do a few symbols and then we'll let you motherfuckers go. What you got? Feels like a roller coaster the last 2 years, and it's just a blip on the Dow, right? And you're zoomed into every move. It feels like fucking, like, you know, like fucking your stomach's gonna fucking jump out of your chest. BTC, I just did it. Tron BTC. Well, worth looking at that. If we're gonna look at, like, you know, BTC dominance, let's see what TRX BTC looks like. I'm pretty sure you guys have asked me Tron before. Tron BTC, but I probably didn't do it. No, Tron, okay, I don't know where it would be. Fucking Christ. Tron BTC. Alright, I don't know where that guy would be. Thought I knew where he was, but I don't. So let's go back and let's compare this to Bitcoin dominance, right? So this is what we want to see, right? Tron has a little deviation. I don't know if Tron's on that list, but you see right here. So BTC, the second he broke out, wrecked as fuck on Atom, right? And we see the dump move in Tron, but Tron had a little differential in strength between himself and Atom. And so, like, you know, the DeFi guys, like I told you, have been, you know, really getting fucking hit in the face ever since that stablecoin problem with SVB. They've got, like, you know, there's a risk arbitrage between them because stablecoins, you know, they're going to do something to stablecoins, and that was before the SEC problem. So they have, like, even greater problems in DeFi land. So right here, something's different between Tron. I don't exactly know what, and I don't know if Tron's on that list, but we do see a BTC moved out. Everybody's getting hit, even the stronger guys getting hit in a correlated fashion and dumped off the bridge. If BTC leaves here, he's going to be best to breed broadly across the crypto space, and, you know, don't bet against that. So that's context real quick on that first move, just to kind of check that. And then let's, God damn it. God damn it. I can't see with this fucking mask. Sorry. Alright, you get off of here. And then Tron. So you know where he is. BTC, back up. So let's zoom out a little bit now. So I know that this is that same range to 2021 May. This is that range that BTC dominance has been stuck in. And so you can see Tron has been strong enough to kind of creep out of there. And as the next attempt, BTC is in a place to break out of that range. And if this continues to push, he could push all the way back across if like BTC is going to leave. So I don't think Tron is a good idea if he's not above this entire shit that he's doing. But he has strength, you can see that. So I think you're kind of watching this. If Tron rotates back on top of this system and BTC dominance isn't strong, that's probably your best scenario. If Tron was to go up here and structure out and then leave from this is what you want to see out here with a weak BTC dominance. Let's make that something not ugly. But do I think this is the most possible thing? If BTC dominance fucking really pumps out of here, you can easily see him just rotate back over maybe to his volume profile and then fucking come back up out of here and try again later. But right now, I think, you know, these are your two most likely scenarios. It was Tron USD over BTC USD. Are you serious? Do you ever divided fractions in school? I know that happens when you do something that has the same denominator. Tron USD over BTC. I'm gonna help you motherfuckers. Being complicated for no fucking reason, right? Over BTC USD. You non-fucking mathematical having motherfuckers. You cancel the denominators, bitch, and you end up with Tron BTC. Stop making life hard, motherfucker. Who the fuck did that? Who's wasting all of our times up in this bitch? The butterfly method? Is that what they call that? I know foil. I don't remember them calling that the butterfly method. But like, motherfucker, trying to sound all smart and shit, nigga. Stop that shit. That's the most complicated way to ask for Tron BTC. Welcome to fractions, bitch. Alright, stop wasting my time. I already did your shit. But cute way of asking. Alright, next. RR and Tesla. RR and Tesla. What is RR again? Recharge resources. Is that right? RR? It's not Redder? No, okay. Alright. RR. Recharge resources. I guess they're going to do charging stations, maybe? I don't know. Non-energy minerals, precious metals. Let me see if this guy is correlated to REMX. Rare earth. Is he correlated to that guy? No. Oh, Rolls-Royce. You gotta put a dot on that bitch. I'm like, what the fuck is this? RR dot is Rolls-Royce. Okay, cool. So we talked about cars, right? We thought cars looked pretty good. We talked about Tesla. And this is the... Is that what you wanted? Yeah, I don't think anybody ever asked the other one. Obviously, I've got Rolls-Royce, so people do ask this. So we look at him, right? He's cars. He's luxury cars. But we can still look at cars, which is our ETF that tracks those guys. And, you know, you can see in the last... Hold still, motherfucker. Hold still, right? You can see the correlation of this last major flag in this rotation, which is where the rotation for, like, Tesla's at, right? A little stronger, but Tesla's bounce is coming a little later in it, but he's rotating with cars. We talked about Ferrari. The haves have more money, right? So luxury brands have been pumping even though you think they shouldn't be. Where is he at? There's Ferrari in there. Damn it. Ferrari will make him red. Alright, there's Ferrari. And then we got, GM. I don't even want to say fucking the letters of that stock. Right, and Ford and GM and everybody's just starting to turn up right now. Charging station goodies, right? So cars, some discretionary guys are strong. The whole car basket looks pretty good. So let me turn this off. I don't. General Motors. We're not going to use a symbol. So this level is what I thought was a good trigger for it. I still think the same thing. We made that plan back here. He never made it. Now he's chopping on it. So I think, the scale of his bull flag is pretty epic, right? It's huge, but it's clearly a bull flag. And we know down here is where everybody loses interest before he gets real gas, like heading out of here. But this is the beginning stages possibly of that rotation. Again, looking at cars and the breadth that we see there, it looks pretty bullish for a lot of people in that space, and like Tesla has more room to run, and if that's the case, this guy has room to run also. Clearly the better breed between these two, luxury cars, has been Ferrari. So keep that in mind also. Where the strength's really been has been in him, and he's like sitting now out the top of his most recent system. All right, where is Tesla? I did Tesla, didn't I? I thought I did. So Tesla, we've been keeping track of from this flag down here. Thought he was rotationally possible. We had some good triggers too that you guys, if you pay attention, right? We had this one, test. Good trigger to play off of there. Drew some plans at low res. With him coming up towards what I think is this angle and this horizontal, which I think is a good level. You want to be careful because he's kind of extended. A lot of people are kind of salty they missed this guy. One of those salty people would be me, because I blew my entry on this shit because I'm in my show too much, but it's okay. I got something else good. But this guy right here, right, he's arced as fuck. It looks literally insane right now. So with gap and the gas he's got, he could flag and keep gapping, but probably better to get some kind of consolidation. This wasn't a very big one that we thought hit here. We thought you could possibly do a bigger one. He just did a small one. This trigger and just left, sat above, clean system, left again. So right now, at this resolution, this is pretty parabolically arced out, and I think you need something like a slightly bigger res flag to make a new plan. Otherwise, you really got just intraday kind of resolutions available to manage this kind of steep trajectory. Just like this, right? When you're hauling ass, you need something bigger. And you can kind of see these are pretty fucking similar, right? Let's look, old cock and balls method. How similar is the arc we're in right now? It's literally almost the same thing. Same amplitude too, right? I put him right there, tilt the angle of it. But he's about the same fucking amplitude as this. And so the emotions are about the same. People are staring at this guy now and wish I could get a piece. And that's when he corrects into bigger resolutions of time. Kills people playing this resolution, migrates across the angle, and then rotates higher, and ultimately makes a higher resolution uptrend that people who are mind-fucked being too close here are time-corrected out of through this, and then see it again here, and the same people who buy this motherfucker, buy this motherfucker. So be careful, right? He's probably due for something like this. I think with this level right here, we'll take away these projections, and I'd say, this is possible. To see him correct off here, you ideally just want a bigger corrective structure. This big, maybe this big, but just something bigger than this resolution right now to make a new plan. So let's see. Yeah, I like this level here. Good test here. Good gaps here. So something that sets up on here, right? A correction off of this, and ultimately, if possible, a system outside the angle and above this key level that'll let him begin to haul ass like he did, very small system there. Nothing you can really see here. Small system there. We just want something on top of this level and through this angle. So we have to play some continuation, gets out here, and have to see how he resolves what he does here, if he does do this at all or not. Um, Jay Squid says Rolls-Royce is mainly aerospace and not so much the car brand. Interesting that they have such good correlation to the car parts, though, right? So let's look at that again, since you're saying that. Rolls-Royce is mostly aerospace. So let's put him with aerospace and see how that looks, because he did look just like the cars in the last part of the wave. So let's look at BA, RTX, NOC, LMT. Gotta say, he has a little resemblance to Boeing. I put the cars ETF on this guy. This top in Rolls-Royce correlates only to the cars ETF itself. And this low rotation here is also pretty good. They almost all hit it. But I do see that last pullback, reflected really well in cars and on from like this bounce here to this high. I guess I do see that movement here, and yeah, that's cars. I don't see it in NOC. Interesting. So beyond the technicals of it, maybe I did make a mistake on that. I don't know exactly to verify what he's saying, but I know that I could see a lot more similarities in this last shockwave setup. If I look at like where cars is, I look where the other aerospace guys are. I don't feel that I see that. But it's a good memo to do some more research on if that's the case. So I don't know that, but maybe he's right. But for right now, this could also be the fact that maybe a couple different sides of the market, industrials and discretionary, are still looking bullish, and so there seems to be like a degree of correlation here, which might be throwing me off on that. So appreciate you throwing that out there, though, in case I do have that wrong. That could be why he doesn't look like luxury cars and isn't as strong, because he's not really tracking cars as much. Unity. Okay, so been a long time since anyone's given a shit about this guy. And he popped really hard with the Apple spatial computer, because a lot of people see like promise for like stuff with AI and spatial computer being a benefit to these guys. And if Web3 is going to get a kickstart from Apple, then it's probably worth paying attention to. So one thing's for sure, all of the volume he's been sitting here is down in the dumpster with him. Your biggest congestion down here is probably this shitty accumulation you see over here. And you probably want to see him beat that and get out of this dumpster. So I think this is probably worth paying attention to. If he can come out of here, I think Unity might finally be able to come out of the grave. I think he's better and safer above that level. INJ USDT, this one, I think you guys asked me this already. Okay, cool. This is whatever this is. This is obviously tied to the situation that's going on crypto wide, and USDT.D and Bitcoin dominance. That's Bitcoin dominance, but don't know if this guy's in in the targeted coins or anything like that. But we talked about this as the distance to the top of this big crash cycle, and where people wouldn't care. We just want to see this flag rotate. So now he's made a new low. Just draw him and track him correctly. I'll take this blue thing off of here. But this is the the projection you're waiting for. And if you can get out of this thing, right, the ability to fucking pump in the next wave here is probably where he can get really crazy gas. And if we do make it here, the Gensler situation is probably not on the table if we rotate and get all the way up to this range. Pepe. Do I have Pepe open? Fuck, I don't have Pepe open. So I made a chart for you, area to pay attention to on Pepe that I thought he could get down to, and he's there. So this is Pepe right here. So we talked about him. This was the only area he had, just like that flag in the VIX and the flag on BTC in 31, right? The only major flag that gets you like a monopoly of perception to mark up into the all-time high is a good place to always kind of keep tabs for like a good level. So coming down to test this, maybe dip through it. Doesn't have to, but this is the area, the only real area he has outside of this range to give a shit about. So how he deals with this is your first clue if he's gonna fucking hold here or if he's got to go deeper, out of this fucking this crash. So still cooking, and I'm still watching it, but this is the first place you care. TMO, what is this? Thermo Fisher Scientific. This is some healthcare guy. Last time we had him, look for the Nomics end here. He didn't make it, but this low is still in place. So this still can be the same thing. It's all a matter of where it holds. Right, so that ends are gonna fit there, but basically to see him rotate out of this is what you're looking for, right? So with what he's got here, it's a really large bull flag. This is kind of ugly. If he breaks low, you redraw the bull flag. But right now, I think it's still possible. Some of these guys in healthcare. I think he's an equipment guy, medical supplies. Yeah, I think some of these guys, who's another guy at medical supplies? Dexcom. Dexcom's probably a slightly better breed guy in this space. And he's tied to the diabetes market, which is like, definitely more of a hot button medical supply market. So that guy right there, looking at him, TMO, looking at the same structure, right? He's kind of not the better breed in the same thing. There's definitely other medical supply guys that look better. But I think if you see the whole space go higher, then you're looking for a rotation that holds this low, creates a second high, and lets him turn up to rotate this flag, and try to get above here to be test. Above that, then he could actually, go crazy. Lululemon. I believe this hoodie I'm wearing is from Lululemon. So last time we talked about Lulu, well, there's that shape we look for, right? Floor, possibly higher floor, and pump out of it. So he did that setup and made it out. And so he's not made it to the next trigger zone, which is on top of this system. That was the next area we said if he got out. He's been weak because discretionary has been dog shit for a while, so he got out, but not with a whole lot of strength. So I think outside here in this zone, you're kind of waiting for him to go up here and set up a chance to clear on top of this. This is probably a little congested. But you want to see strong discretionary and him to get up here. That would probably be a better spot to plan from. Again, discretionary right here isn't weak everywhere. Some places are stronger than others, right? Like Walmart is starting to look a lot better. He's starting to have a chance of exiting this crazy megaphone pattern we drew for you a while ago. Needs to get on top of this, but some department stores are looking better. Target's not one of those, clearly. Let's see if Ross stores are one of them. Ross kind of caters to some cheaper things, so some of these guys are worth putting on the radar as discretionary starts to shape up in a few places. It hasn't reached over here yet. Macy's still looks kind of like shit. A couple of these guys are starting to look kind of interesting. Lulu team. What is this? Technology service package software. We've never asked that one. Oh, there's where that's been. Wow. The last time you guys ever asked about team is fucking years ago, huh? Well, here, here, and here. Okay. That's all we care about. So pre-COVID. Okay, so there's IGV. No, that's CRM. IGV. Not quite. Okay. So looking at this guy, see this range over here, 18, 19, COVID. What's that guy called? Team. He lands in the same thing, right? Yeah, same area. COVID, 18, 19. So these guys have like good structural similarities. I think, like I said, we like to see things land in good volume areas. That's probably the most significant one, just like Tesla, right? This area was our catch there. NVIDIA was our projected range here. And so team and CRM are both coming from, and CRM has bottomed it and bounced. So keep that in mind. He's also in package software and he's stronger. So he actually left the range and team is still there, right? So he's not best of breed, but he is at least structurally identical. So you do want some amount of strength to get him out of here. He's not the best of breed in software though. He's got the structure and he's lagging. So that's usually not a good sign that he's he's not coming out with the move that we see the strength of like Microsoft and these other guys in software that fully left those like low structures. Team's kind of languishing. If the market pulls back, he could get hit. But as long as he holds this area and holds this rotation, right, he has a chance to maybe participate in a later wave. Hey, Iverson. Look who's here. So you might want to wait for something outside the system. Like, you know, we want something on top of the system, like so, that can get him to mark up out of here. So something that can be free and clear, like something like this. And then do like that and give you a chance for a version of this, you know, clean break above the system is what you're looking for to see if his rotation will follow suit with like what you're seeing like in like a CRM. So if you look at CRM, you notice, right, he gets out of the system and then not on this res, but right, one good clean flag on top of the system and then get the fuck out of here. You're looking for something like that. PhD. Wait, what? No. PhD. What is this? Parker Hannafin. He's an industrial dude. Yep. So industrial dudes look strong. We drew this guy. Have no idea when the fuck. It was a while ago. Good box range, right? This is probably drawn up before. Okay, this was drawn up from when he was here. You could go up there and do some dumb shit in this box and then go back up again. So yeah, you basically did it, right? You rotated from the flag. Didn't chop on the way into the box range, but dumped onto it and then did a bunch of noise. And this is good. So he's created a good position right here and then got back on top of it. So now we want to see him outside this trigger. You know, same thing. Give us some kind of system, not sure how big, but, and then leave out of that. And that would be pretty bullish, especially if industrials are behind it, right? So industrials are in a place. They can clear this system. A whole bunch of things look like they have room to run, like including like Boeing and stuff, guys that are congested like that. So keep eyes on industrials. AMD, I thought I did this guy already. So he was in a big old bull flag, and you look, yeah, I did do this. And you can keep on chasing that NVIDIA structure, right? There's a whole bunch of guys that are like midway through the scale of a flag like this. Like I said, like a bunch of dudes look like this, right? Damn it. Right, there's a whole bunch of things that look really crazy in the same kind of scale of flags as NVIDIA. That's sort of the same bull flag. He's just a weaker guy in the rotation. This keeps going. This likely keeps going too. All right, and then that was it. There you go, bitches. All done. Let me see, my 2 hours now magically somehow, some fucking way. Hour and 56. Unbelievable. He said, can someone confirm if I'm watching a replay or if this is live? Can't seem to see the GC. Not used to YouTube yet. No worries. Welcome to Apostle. I think I just saw you open-minded robot. No, this is live, dude. This is me stoned and live. So it is 11:05. Hopefully you guys learned some shit today. Got good context on a few assets. And learned a little bit about reading sentiments in Twitter. Again, you want to stay on Twitter, right? You can't find Warren Buffett. He's a little hard to find. But all the dummies that lose to him, they advertise themselves every day. And that's why we're out there, right? Reading the tea leaves and bringing you guys the simple of it. So hopefully you enjoyed that. See you guys in channels at 11 o'clock. Make sure you guys clip some stuff from this. Like the show. And put some things into the chart patterns if you see some stuff on Twitter that are worth putting in there. Or clip anything that you think is good logic from here and put it into the clips category. And you'll find that over time and building that archive up, you guys are gonna have a fantastic wealth of information to research and keep your minds in the right place and not correlate with all that dumb shit you see arguing with me on fucking Twitter every day. So hope this has been a fun show for you guys. Catch you guys on the flip. This has been Wave Logics, niggas. Peace out.
Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly.
Look who's back. I know you can't see her that good, but you know who it is. She's not meowing as much, but she's here in spirit. Alright, now we're gone.
Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly.